We're going to talk about what's the deal with 3 services. And finally, we're going to sample one of David's favorite snack desserts. So you're not going to want to miss this. Welcome to our Greenhouse podcast here at The Gathering. I'm Steve, and this is David here.
Hi, Steve.
Hey.
Hey.
Are you excited to be here this morning?
I am super excited to be here this morning. Yes.
And how did you think our last podcast went?
I felt like we're now celebrities.
We're celebrities?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's going to go viral any moment.
Okay. Oh, that's very, very
high.
Influencers.
People are going to send us clothes to wear.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
Depending on what they send us.
They're gonna send us like food they want us to try.
That sounds awesome.
It's gonna be amazing.
I'm looking for my royalty checks in the mail very soon.
I'm sure they'll be here quickly.
Okay, yeah. So just to give a recap of what we're doing today, we got some questions. We're going to talk about some things upcoming and some things we're going to talk about. But right now, we have something fun. And last week, we did a gas station snack food challenge, which you did not. Actually, I went back and watched it, and you were not into it at all.
No, because you got a bunch of really bad potato chips. I mean, like you could have gotten Ruffles, like especially like the sour cream and cheddar.
I'm actually glad that you're saying this to me now,
I don't know if there's anything better than the Ruffles sour cream and cheddar.
I felt like I was a swing and a miss on you last time. You were you didn't even want to finish the chip.
I didn't finish any of them.
I know, I noticed that. And then all you did is complain about how you can't smell anything and how you can't taste anything. So I'm starting to question.
That's all true.
Yeah, but don't you enjoy food?
Yeah, it's not that I can't taste anything.
Yeah.
I just have diminished taste buds, I think. How can you really know?
I can tell you how you could know.
Okay.
Do you enjoy eating? Not everybody does. I mean, the vast majority of people do.
Does it look like I enjoy eating?
Okay, so you enjoy eating. You got that.
Are you calling me fat?
I'm just going by what you're saying. I'm not saying you're fat. I don't think that you're fat.
But you know, the doctors have those charts.
It's hard to say your body shape is different than most people.
So the BMI charts.
Right, yes.
I have been obese my entire life.
Okay. Like clinically obese compared.
Right, yeah.
Well, that's just a height to weight ratio of an average person. Yeah.
Yeah. And built.
Yeah. I would never say that you're fat. I don't think that. I think you're well proportioned.
I appreciate that.
Okay. So anyway, based on all of that, I feel much better from you saying that, but I did want another attempt at what I was going for last time. And I think this is one you might enjoy, maybe you will enjoy, but I think one that everyone who's watching will enjoy as long as they're at the gathering. So
what if they're not at the gathering?
Well, I think they'll still enjoy it, but maybe just not as much. So we'll see.
Like, what if my Aunt Matilda watches?
Well, I would hope that your aunt would enjoy this as well, because I think, it's a little bit about you, and that's what I was going for.
All right.
So at least one of them. But I had to try a few.
I'm getting a little nervous.
I had to try a few different things. You should not be nervous. Okay, I'm going to break it out here. Okay. So, what I got. Now, these are official ho-hos. Now, you like the Swiss cake rolls.
Correct.
I don't know why. I didn't see Swiss cake rolls at all there. All they had, they must be Hostess brand, but they also had...
no, they're Little Debbie.
I mean the gas station only carried Hostess brands because that's all I could find there. But I also didn't look around a ton.
Gas station are you going to?
One by my house. It's actually a pretty nice gas station.
Apparently not.
I'm just say they have. It's pretty nice. It's
not nice enough to have Little Debbie stuff.
Yeah. Well, I guess not that nice,
right.
But okay. So I got a few things. I got the Swiss cake rolls / ho-hos. I don't know if that's going to make you angry or not, but
no, I mean, I'm not going to turn it down.
Okay, and then I got a couple things that I thought were interesting. I know you like muffins, right? Am I right on that? Do you like muffins?
I do, but I'm curious as to why you said that so confidently. You're like, yeah. I know you like muffins.
This is just purely based on the fact that you have talked up my favorite muffin before.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Yeah. Okay, it's based on that. I don't I feel like I've had my favorite muffin, but I can't remember. And isn't my favorite muffin by Basali's?
Yeah, it's right. Okay. Well, no, it's right around the corner.
I hear so many good things about Basali's,
and you should, rightfully.
Okay. I went there and I did not experience it, but I want to give it a try again. Last time I went there, they were actually closed in the morning. I'm like, what the heck? They sold out of stuff, I guess.
Yeah, you got to go early.
I didn't realize that.
They do run out fairly quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I got something just totally off the wall. This is a baby bunt cake, because there's that like bunt.
Nothing bunt cake.
Nothing bunt cakes.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal. And you've liked those.
I have.
I'm sure this has nothing to do with, but we're probably talking already too much about these things. Right. Let's go ahead and try them.
Okay.
All right. So, well, do you want to do this one last? Let's start with this one, because it's only downhill from here.
Well, there's 3. So,
well, it's not off to a good start here, because this very first one is already crumbling.
That's fairly typical. Though,
it's fairly typical.
This kind of a snack. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't eat a whole lot of these.
The Swiss cake rolls are going to fall apart when you open them up. That's just part of the deal.
So go ahead and give one a try here.
I'm not eating a whole one.
No, just take a bite.
Okay. All right.
So you're the expert on this. So go ahead.
I'm just going to rip it off like that.
Yeah, go ahead and tell us what you're looking for. What you're looking for when you get a Swiss cake roll.
So here's the differences between this and the Swiss cake roll.
Okay.
The big difference is the chocolate. Right.
Thin, too thin.
Well, no. So this is dark.
Okay.
And the Swiss cake roll is milk.
Yeah.
Now I generally prefer dark chocolate to milk chocolate.
Okay.
But the way the chocolate mixes with the cake on the Swiss cake roll is just really good. I find the cake on these to be a little more dry.
Mm-hmm. Well, it literally says on the package, moist chocolate cake.
Well,
like they're advertising.
Sure,
that.
but in my opinion, the Swiss cake roll's chocolate cake is a little more moist.
Mm-hmm. I would believe that, because when you broke it open, it looked a little dry.
Right. And then the cream, I think you get a little more cream with the Swiss cake roll than you get with this.
You definitely do.
So, yeah. All right. Cheers.
Agree.
This is the best podcast ever.
Okay.
Good
we
job.
turn around.
All right. Are we done? Thank you guys for being with us today.
All right. It was good.
We'll see you next week.
I enjoyed it. I haven't had
when we sample steak.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
All right, let's move. We're just going to try these ones real quick here so we can move on to our content. But I thought we'd give this one a try. So grab one of these.
Okay.
It smells very blueberry. When I opened that package, I got just immediate. It's probably from the artificial blueberry flavoring, but it says right on the package, once again, baked with real blueberries. Do you believe that?
No.
You only bake with an oven.
So, I mean, yeah, I'm sure it is, but...
Are you breaking it to see how moist it is? Feels a little moister than the other one.
It's just easier to eat that way.
Some people hate that word.
Yeah. All right.
All right, let's give it a try.
All right.
No. No. The blueberry tastes very artificial in it. It kind of reminds me of those, like, my kids really like those, like, miniature, like, the tiny muffin things. Yeah, it's gross. Not good.
That's a no.
Bad taste in my mouth. Okay, let's try this one real quick.
Don't get those.
Don't get those.
Don't do it.
If you like muffins, you're gonna hate.
If you like anything.
If you like food that you can tolerate. Okay, go ahead. You can.
I really feel like I just ate a sock.
Yeah. I'm getting this, like, kind of like.
Really not excited about this. Now
the only thing that comes to mind is like a battery acid taste. That's probably a really bad description.
Now this is interesting though, because look at what do you think is in there? You think that's just full of like sugar?
Like, so we watch the like the how it's made stuff for snack items. It's called like I don't remember. It's on net. It's on Discovery, but
it's very pink.
This is all automated stuff. Yeah, this is very, very moist. Kind of what you'd expect of a bunt cake.
Too bad John's gonna have to clean this table up when we're done.
I don't know. Let's give it a try. Really? I like that one.
No, I'm not a fan.
I thought it was good. Very, very moist, sweet, but not too sweet in my opinion. Bunt cakes are generally really sweet.
No, that's not. It's not good, Steve.
It's not good. I liked it. I mean, after I ate like a big lunch or something,
it's like got the consistency of toothpaste.
I don't like eating toothpaste, but I like a thicker,
Generally, a bundt cake's going to be a little more firm.
Really? I thought the nothing bundt cakes were, nice and moist and thick like that.
They're moist, but they're not like... I don't squishy. Does
a strawberry flavor throwing you off?
I didn't think it was a good strawberry flavor either. No.
Do you like strawberry stuff?
I'm okay with it. I mean, of like all the reddish type fruits, I wouldn't pick it. I'd always run towards cherry instead of strawberry.
Yeah. Okay, so this is my segue into my next thing that is not scheduled, which is snack food items. They kind of come in and they go out, right? So like, in fad, I mean, so like they they do come in and go out of your body as well, but that's not what I was talking about. And especially these ones might do that, but they come out in and out of popularity. So
go on.
So you're ruining my segue here, but like, Twinkies, really popular, not so popular. When I was a little kid, Nutter Butters or Nutty Buddies.
Oh, those are still popular.
I don't think they're as popular though. Like you don't see them as many, but they're like the oatmeal cream pies, that kind of stuff. Like super popular when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Aren't quite as popular. They're still around. They're still classic. Right. But as you can see from our selection here, like they're always trying new things, and sometimes it's a swing and a miss, right? So I wanted to talk about something real quick with you about just something I saw recently that said it was trending, but I went and looked it up and it wasn't. It had been trending about a year ago, which it makes it through its cycles. But this is something that that I was interested in because I like reading about finance things. I don't know if you would ever think that about me.
Sounds exciting.
I know it's not exciting, but I actually enjoy reading a lot about that. And this trend that they said was going on, which I don't know if it is. We're going to have to ask our millennials who are both on their phones right now. Yeah. We're typical.
This is the
typical
longest
millennials.
Intro to a question
ever. I know. So this is why I shouldn't drink a bunch of coffee before.
I'm falling asleep here.
Okay, so this thing is it's called the Money Envelope Challenge. Have you heard of it?
I've heard something about it. Like you get like numbers and you put that much into an envelope.
Right. So 1 through 100.
Okay.
And if you're millennial or whatever the younger generation from is, what's that?
Yeah. So can I just interrupt this for a second?
Yeah.
Because this requires cash, right?
It requires cash. Yes, you're correct.
All right,
go on. This is I'm kind of getting to that too. Is it this concept? So what you do, well, let's explain it real quick. Is it you get 100 envelopes, you number them 1 through 100,
yep.
and depending on how you do it, you do you can either select so many envelopes a month and fill those, or you could do all 100 envelopes in 1 month.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you could do it multiple ways, but the thought behind it is you are saving money. Right. Okay. So that's the concept. Now, this idea has been around for a long time because when I was a youth pastor before here, we did that as a fundraiser.
Right.
And the envelope concept goes beyond that. But so I want to get your thoughts on this idea. And I think money in general, what wisdom you have from scripture about how we should treat money and what money should be. But I just looked up one stat that I hear they throw around a lot, which is an emergency fund. So this is 56%. So more than half the U.S. population has less than $1,000 to cover an emergency. That means like if your car breaks or if you own a home, if your furnace breaks or something like that, they have less than $1,000 to cover that. So they're heavily using credit cards to, do that. And they're possibly living paycheck to paycheck, which a lot of people do. So what's your take on the money envelope concept and just what's a biblical perspective on money that we should have?
So the money envelope thing, first of all, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Okay, explain.
Well, partly because we just for the most part, live in a cashless society.
Yeah.
And especially if you're younger than me, you mostly live in a cashless society. So I'm not sure why, putting cash in envelopes is great. Plus, you don't get any interest on those envelopes.
I feel it's true. I feel like, and the people behind the cameras can correct me on this too, but Polaroids are also really popular right now because it's something physical.
Yeah.
So I think it's along that same kind of concept. It's anti what everybody is doing, so it's kind of trendy and it's kind of cool. Well, I see some head nods.
So let's just talk about it for a quick second because I'm trying to do the math in my mind and I'm thinking if you have 1 to 100,
see if you get the math.
$550.
No.
5,555.
No.
5,500.
No. 5,000 even.
It's just straight up 5,000.
5,000 even. Yeah.
So that's what having to try to do math on the fly.
Yeah.
All right. So
I'm surprised you got that close.
Well, I knew it was 5, but I couldn't get all my digits together. So here's the thing: is I get putting it away. That's great. It's very disorganized, right? And so. If I put $3 in this envelope and I'm going to put $7 in this envelope, but what happens if I pull the envelope that says 78 and I'm like, there is no way I can put $78 in this envelope this week. I can't do it. And so now the discipline is gone.
Yeah.
So I think this is a habit question,
right? It's
a discipline question, and to me,
and habits and disciplines don't go in trends.
No, they don't. And to me, this is the kind of thing where you automate it, right? Because the important stuff in your life you ought to automate because you can. Now, I'm like a big fan of not automating too much because I think that automation often gets in the way of personal interaction. But if we're just talking about what you're doing with your money, why not automate that? So I think you should sit down. You should make your budget.
Yeah.
Figure out how much money are you putting in different places, and then say, okay, I'm gonna give this much to God. He's my first and best. Right. We talked about that on Sunday.
Yeah.
So I want to give my first and my best to God. So I'm going to give this much of my income to him and then just automate that, right?
Yeah.
Go on the Church Center app, click on the gathering, set up a weekly, monthly, bi-weekly, however often you get paid gift.
Yeah.
And then it's just automatically going to go there. And now you've made this habit happen.
Yes.
And then the next thing is set up your savings, right?
Yeah. Well, can I make one comment to that first thing? Quick one is that, if we view money as a gift from God, because not all of us, all of us can work hard, but not all of us are compensated equally.
Right.
So if we say that everything that we have is a gift from God, so therefore we should be grateful for that, then we should give back to him for the gratefulness we have of that. So I agree with making it regular, setting it up. If it is important, then you will put it as a priority.
Right.
So
and then do the same thing with your savings, right? And then I tell my kids they need to have multiple savings accounts, and so they do. Like both of them have loans for college.
How old are your kids?
So they're both in their 20s.
Okay.
And both of them have loans for college, but right now there's this pause on paying loans. And so what both of them are doing is they've got a savings account set up that they're paying their loan payments into that savings account, which means they're getting the interest instead of Uncle Sam, which is bonus, right?
Yeah, that's wise.
And then when the time comes that they have to start paying on those loans again, they're going to make one big lump sum payment that's going to get rid of a lot of the principal right away. But you can do that with a lot of other things. Like you can be saving, for your car. But if your car is paid off, you should be making a car payment to yourself, and make a separate account for that. Have a vacation account, so that you're not putting your vacation on your credit card. Yeah. Obviously, the principle is easy, and then you just automate it by just saying every time I get paid, I immediately send a transfer out to these accounts, and that's where that goes. So much better than an envelope, and a 1 to 100 envelope. If you need to do the 1 to 100 envelope thing, and it's fun, okay, cool. Say, this is going to be our vacation account. We're going to do this for our vacation. But I think the problem is when you don't automate something, there's always that temptation. If things are tight, well, this is what I'm going to.
This can go away. Yeah, I agree with that. And I would say that Dave Ramsey would agree with that. And
he and I are buds.
Yeah. But his principles are sound. Regardless of what you feel and think about Dave Ramsey, his principles are sound. And this is a plug here for one of our groups. We actually are starting a Financial Peace University class here very soon that Marcia is doing at the church. So a plug if this topic interests you and you want to get your money situation figured out, it's a great class. Regardless of what you feel about Ramsey, so it's great principles.
He's the classic 1 Corinthians 13, lots of wisdom and knowledge, but he's like a gong just because he can't be kind.
Yeah.
And that well, I'm going to alienate some people, so I'm going to let that go.
Right. Okay.
All right.
Well, very good discussion on that. And I actually have a few pre-programmed, pre-scheduled questions for you.
Okay.
And this past Sunday was Chili Bowl.
Yes.
And it was a ton of fun and just a great day for a bunch of people to get together. We packed out the gym at Centerville High School. We listened to some participated in some great worship. You did a great job on the message, and we ate a ton of chili. So just overall fantastic Sunday.
Yeah.
So my question to you is how much chili did you eat?
Yeah. I thought we were going to get to break down the Bengals game today. That's what I thought we were going to be doing.
Well, that's a sore subject around here.
Okay. All right. So I didn't actually measure like how many fluid ounces of chili I ate.
I just mean how many did you try? Did you get to try
sampled.
the winning chili?
No, I never
did. You get
do.
to try any of the placing chilies?
I did. I got to try one of them, and it was really good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to say which one because
I don't want people to feel bad. Yeah.
Favorites.
Right. So
I'm going to say I tried one of the top three, and it wasn't my jam. I did not.
That's all right. Yeah, that's all right. I mean, I think we have to maybe talk at some point about the white chilies and the red chilies and all that. But I think I sampled 5 or 6 different chilies. I just had like little bits of each.
Yeah.
I do keep the same bowl.
Yeah.
So they all start to kind of mix together, which I think is the way it should be done. I did. There were some really good chilies though. I had some tasty ones.
Same here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a huge fan of the white chilies. And I know that's going to really tick some people off, but that's what I tried. And I'm big on not letting the flavors compete. So it's hard to switch from that to
So you get a new bowl every time.
No.
I would
I
expect
stuck
you
in the
to.
white chicken chili category because I didn't want to break outside of that when I was trying something.
Yeah, that seems right.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move on here. So what's this next sermon series about?
Yeah.
What's going on with it? What's the deal?
Well, we're going to take 4 weeks and go through the life of Samson. And that's really just a couple of chapters in the book of Judges. So it starts in chapter 13 and it ends at the end of chapter 16. So 4 weeks, we're going to walk through the life of Samson, and we're going to pay particular attention to his distractedness, right? Because he's a guy who has lots of potential, but he gets distracted a lot. I heard somebody say that he was a He-Man, right? Like the He-Man character. He's like a He-Man with a she weakness.
That's what I see him as.
Yeah.
He just if I were to get a character, it would be like that He-Man.
Yeah. The Defenders of the Universe.
Yes.
Right.
Like that. Like he's huge, a huge guy. I'm just picturing him being very muscular too, but maybe he just has that kind of old man strength where
he was wiry.
He was, who knows? But so there's been a lot of buzz about this Samson group discussion that we've been talking about, because not only are we doing a sermon series, but we're launching a group and we're allowing other groups to go along this material. So I've been talking to group leaders about this, and someone came to me and said, why Samson? And I said, where are you going with this? One, it's not very long, right?
Right.
It's not a really long book. And Samson is a jerk. He's not someone we look at and as you read, you have this concept in your mind, I'm sure we've all heard about Samson. We've, maybe even read the story a few times, but you when you read it again, you're like, oh my gosh, that happened. And how is this dude a judge that other people looked up to? So explain that. How are we going to gain wisdom from someone who was a classic fool?
Yeah. Well, let's start with he's in the Bible, right? So
it must have been important.
So it's worth looking at because he's in the Bible. But, we can learn a lot from the mistakes of others. And in fact, that's one of the principles of Proverbs is that a wise person learns from the beatings of a fool.
Yeah.
So when you see the fool making mistakes and having to pay the consequences of those mistakes, a wise person notes that and says, okay, I don't want to do that. And that's a lot of what we'll do with Samson. I'm going to push back a little bit on how much we hate him. All right. Because when we get to Delilah, and we'll see this, there's this little part of me.
The innocence in him.
Well, it's
he
not
was very
innocence. I mean, by that point, he's killed thousands of people.
But he was like very trusting of her.
Well, he was.
That's kind of what I meant by that.
Foolishly and simplistically.
He also very much trusted his friends at that party.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. Well, he did a lot of bad trusting. So I'll give away like one of the surprises here is that in the story of Delilah, it tells us very clearly that Samson loved her. And she's the only woman in the whole story that he actually loves.
Yeah.
So it never says that about anybody else.
But a bad judge of character.
Yeah, but she never loves him.
Yeah.
It never says that she loves him, and you kind of like feel bad. She loves
was
money.
playing him.
Oh, absolutely. So
and you could, hindsight is 20/20, and we're looking back at the story, but he did get played.
So there's some redeeming characteristics in Samson, and at the end of the story, there's definitely some redemption. And Samson is a really great picture of someone who is supposed to remind us of Jesus, but didn't, but God still used him. Yeah. And that's encouraging.
Okay, so explain to us why he was supposed to remind us of Jesus.
I have to preach these sermons. I don't want to give it all away, right?
Well, that you just said that, but I think the average person would have a hard time. Why is he reminding us of Jesus?
Real quick. So miraculous birth, predicted by an angel, right?
Check.
And the angel said he is going to deliver his people. So, three big cues to us. This reminds us of Jesus.
Yes. Okay. Fair enough.
Yep.
And good points there. Okay. Next question. Why do we keep launching small groups? It seems like a lot mostly because we talk about it a lot and have been.
Right. So we're trying to launch new groups 3 times a year. And, we do it at the beginning of the year, which we're doing right now. And then we'll do it again after Easter.
Yeah.
And then we'll do it again in the fall when
beginning of school
back
year.
To school, that kind of stuff. And the reason is, well, number one, we think groups are important. That's where people can really grow.
And why?
So Sunday morning is great. We love coming together on Sunday morning. It's a wonderful chance to worship God together, to hear from his word. That's fantastic. But if you only eat on Sunday, you're going to get really hungry by the end of the week. And so we want to provide that second opportunity for spiritual feeding in a different kind of context. So in the New Testament, there's these things called the one another commands. And they're things like encourage one another, forgive one another, rejoice with one another, embrace one another, teach one another, learn from all these one another commands. Most of them are things that we're told to do that we can't do in the context of a Sunday morning because they require relational connection.
Yes.
And so if we really want to live out the fullness of the life that God has for us, we need to have those relational connections. We need to have people who are influencing us. And small groups are a fantastic place for that to happen. So we keep launching them because we want to make it as easy as possible for people to get connected in those groups.
Yeah, and I agree. And I have 2 points to that. One is perspectives. I think that it's good to have other people's, because on Sunday you're there, you're internalizing it all.
Right.
You might go home and talk to your wife about it or significant other, whoever. But that person well.
Right.
So getting other people's perspectives, it opens up new perspectives to you. So I think that's good for groups and just having friends in general you can talk about these things with.
Yep.
And then the other side of it is that getting into a new group is difficult and challenging for people.
Yeah.
But it takes, you can't just go once and be like, okay, what did you think of that? Like if you go with your significant other and you're like, what did you think of the group? Should we go back? Should we not? You cannot, it takes a minimum of 3 times being in that group to start feeling like, okay, I understand why this is important. I'm starting to actually like these people I'm with. I kind of picking up on what makes them. Everyone's just kind of nervous the first night. You're just getting to understand how it's going. So I want people to understand that maybe watching who are going to join a group or thinking about joining a group is you got to give it time.
Yeah.
You got to give it
Right.
time.
Yeah. And I'll just one last thing on that.
Yeah.
In a world where so much of our interaction is on the screen
Mm-hmm.
and, more and more, so even work now, more and more on the screen, that face-to-face interaction is so healthy for us. It's just good for our souls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as we're talking about this, I feel like we could do a whole podcast just on groups.
Well, maybe we will.
I think that would be fun. Okay. So at the Chili Bowl, you said that having 3 services was going to be a stretch for us. What does that mean?
Right. So that analogy of the table with the leaves, right? You got to pull the table apart to make room.
Yeah.
And so we're in this period of time at the church where we're kind of getting pulled apart, right? So we're being stretched. And it means a lot of things. It means we're going to be a little bit uncomfortable. Right? Because, times are changing. So I've got to go to church at a different time. That's uncomfortable for me. There may be different people around me. That's going to be uncomfortable. I think part of it is just figuring out how to make it work, because there is not a good way to do 3 services on a Sunday morning. 2 services is easy, right?
Yeah.
9:30 and 11.
Yeah. Just not enough time to do 3 good services.
So, if we do an 8 o'clock service, that's super early.
Right.
But if we don't do an 8 o'clock service, that means the earliest we can start that third service is 11:30, and then we're going to 12:30. And so it's like, well, now that's too late. And so, everybody's going to have to stretch a little. And everybody's going to have to, make a little bit of a sacrifice. But at the end of the day, there's a reason we do that. We make those sacrifices and we stretch because it's good for us. Great example. I'm getting old. Mm-hmm. And so if I'm going to go out,
by the way, everybody's getting old.
So if I go out and play pickleball, I can't do what I used to do. I used to just walk out, start playing, have fun, be good. I actually have to stretch beforehand. I have to get my muscles stretched out, and stretching is a little uncomfortable. It's a little bit painful. But at the end of the day, if I don't stretch, then I'm going to hurt myself. And we're at that place where we've got to do a little bit of stretching, a little bit of discomfort. But at the end of the day, I would ask this: how much is one soul worth? Mm-hmm. Right. So if I'm uncomfortable or if I'm stretching myself,
Jesus left the flock to find the one lost sheep.
Well, Jesus gave his life, right? So if the life of Jesus is worth it, then how much is it worth for me if by being a little bit uncomfortable, that means that somebody gets to know Jesus who wouldn't have otherwise? Mm-hmm. Is that worth it?
It's definitely worth it.
Yeah, and I'm going to say, yeah, I think it is.
Yes. Okay, great. Have you thought about having a Saturday night service?
Yeah, I get that question quite a bit.
Do you?
I do. Have you thought about having a Saturday night service? I have.
And what kind of person is asking you this? Like, are they coming up to you and asking this, or emailing you, or
all of the above?
All of the above.
Yeah. So people said it on the survey. People say, I mean, this has been for a long time.
Right.
People say, "Hey, have you ever thought about this?" And I have.
Yeah.
In fact, in my last church, I actually led a Saturday night service, and I preached it every Saturday night, and it was a service our family went to. So we're big fans of a Saturday night service, and we'd love to do it. The thing is a Saturday night service requires a whole new investment from the church.
Yes.
Because you got to think about things like, well, are we going to have children's discipleship opportunities? Mm-hmm. Are we going to have student ministries? Are we going to have child care? What about the cafe? Are we going to have Bill's Donuts on Saturday night? That seems weird,
yes.
Right? Are we going to have coffee? Because a lot of people will say, well, it's too late to drink coffee. So there's all these like little tiny questions. What about the band? Is the band going to play on Saturday night and then come back on Sunday?
Like the same band?
The same band, yeah. Right? Are you going to have the same kind of music?
Yeah.
What about the person who's preaching? Are we going to expect the same person to preach Saturday night and Sunday morning? So there's all these questions. And then in the midst of all that, there's the question of, will anybody come?
Yeah.
So here's where we're at. We're going to 3 services right now because we need to. Right. It's a need.
Yeah. Can you explain why it's a need?
Because we don't have room. We simply don't have room for people. We want to connect as many people as possible to Jesus. We're out of room.
Yeah.
So we have to make room. So what we're trying to do is figure out a way to move 75 to 100 people into a new service.
Yeah.
To open up 75 to 100 new seats in our existing services. That's what we're trying to do. A Saturday night service, I don't know if we can move that many people.
Right.
it would be very appealing to a new crowd of people.
A different type of
But it doesn't really help us solve the problem we have. Now I'll say this, and this may be hopelessly optimistic, but if we can do this 3 services things well, and make this transition well, and have it go, we could maybe by the end of the year start talking about a 4th service that is a very targeted, specific service, not out of need, but out of mission. I would love to be able to do that. But right now, Saturday night's probably not the option. I'll say this. If I had 50 people email me, call me, text me, however, and say, I'm all in for a Saturday service. I'll be there 3 out of every 4 weeks. I'll be involved. I'll be active. I want to make it happen. I would need 50 people who would say that.
Yeah.
And if I had 50 people who said that, we'd go full speed ahead on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough on that. And it sounds like that you put a lot of thought into this because you're looking at a lot of different scenarios. So just like, what are some of your criteria for deciding the times and the day? Like, so what all things are you looking at when you're making that decision?
So I'm trying to listen to as many different kinds of people as I can, so that I can understand what are the different factors involved for people, because it's different for everybody. A family that has young children, the times they can come to church is really small because, getting the kids up, getting them ready, but also having them there, late is tough too. For other people, they have more options, but, morning is great. Later in the day is great. I mean, there are people who they don't want to go to a later service because they want to watch football. Yeah. So there's all these different reasons. And so I'm trying to just listen to as many as possible. And then at the end of the day, we have to say, how do we do this that we don't put too big of a burden on our volunteers? That's hugely important to us. Yeah. And we have so many volunteer teams. How do we do it in a way that we take good care of our families and make sure that we can have a high quality, safe, exciting children's program? How do we do it in a way that it works for our student ministries so that, this is continuing to be a place where students connect to Jesus? So those are the 3 big questions that I have. And then there's lots of little ones too, but that's what we're considering.
Okay. Great. Well, thanks for answering those questions, and thanks for giving us an outlet to dig a little bit deeper into some things that a lot of people are curious about.
Awesome. Thank you for the ho-hos.
You're welcome. So I hope you enjoyed this one a little bit better than the last one.
The ho-hos were better. The others not so much, but it's a step in the right direction.
Okay.
So all right. Good job. Is that it?
That is all.
All right.
Are you going to sign us off?
Do you want me to sign us off?
Go for it.
All right. This is David for Steve